Hidely Ho Drinkerinos, it's another episode of the Idaho Booze Podcast with me, Steve Kuntz. Today, we go into the Wayback Machine. That's right, we're doing a re-release. Oh my goodness. Oh, everyone's doing them now because it's the middle of summer and we just don't care right now. But anyway, this is an awesome interview. It's with Adam Fleck from Alliteration Ales. He's going to talk all about his upcoming, now open, beer book bar. That's right, Oldspeak in Garden City. They're right on Chinden, so he's going to talk all about that, plus all the amazing beers he's making and everything else. Then I'll come back and do a little Boise Beer Buddies calendar, but really all that's going on is High Aldi, so I guess I'll just talk about that some more. That's all coming up next on the Idaho Booze Podcast. It's time for the Warren Reserve Cocktail of the Week, and this week's cocktail is a simple one, but it is oh so good, especially when you're laid back. That's right, gin and juice. What do you need? Well, you need a glass with ice in it. Then you're going to need about 2 ounces of gin. You know, whatever you got. Tanqueray obviously is the pick here for this particular drink. We're going to use a Warren Reserve Huckleberry Sour Mix as our juice. So we're going to do about 1.5 ounces of that. Then we're going to use a little bit of syrup. So you can use simple syrup, agave syrup, whatever you need. Only about 1/2 ounce of that. And then we're going to put in a little bit of Warren Reserve lavender bitters as well. So we're going to use about 2 dashes of that. And then we're going to top it off with club soda. So basically you put the gin, you put in the huckleberry, you put in the syrup and the bitters, and then you stir that up real good. Top that off with a little club soda. Give it one more little just like 1/2 stir. And maybe go in the opposite direction that you went before. That's the way I would do it. Measure everything out, put it in the glass, fill it up with ice, and there you have it. It is a gin and juice, laid back, with my mind on my money and my money, that's right, on my mind. Go to warrenreserve.com, use my promo code SUMMER25, get 3 bottles of the Huckleberry Sour Mix, 3 of them, count them, 1, 2, 3, for $29.95, but that's not all. You also get a free bottle of lavender or chili lime bitters from Warren Reserve. Just put in that promo code SUMMER25 at warrenreserve.com. This has been the Warren Reserve Cocktail of the Week. Spring is here and summer's right around the corner. Time to step up your cocktail game with Warren Reserve. Their huckleberry syrup is made with real lemon, limes, and wild huckleberries, and it's the perfect upgrade for your margarita, mojito, or even a whiskey sour. And right now, when you buy a 3-bottle pack of huckleberry syrup at warrenreserve.com, you'll get a free bottle of lavender or chili lime bitters. Just use the promo code SUMMER25 at checkout. That's warrenreserve.com. Promo code SUMMER25. Cheers. Welcome back to the show. Adam Fleck from Alliteration Ales is here, right here in my bar. Adam, how you doing?
Doing excellent. Thanks for the invite. Thanks for having me out.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You know, anytime I can have somebody out to my bar and he brings beer, I mean, you're, as far as I'm concerned, welcome back anytime.
Certainly.
So go ahead. Tell me about yourself. Tell us about your brewery. Tell us what's going on in Alliteration Ales and what's happening with you today.
Well, let's see. Where do we want to start? How far back do we want to go? Back to the beginning. So we founded Alliteration Ales the end of 2022. We have kind of a second generation brewery at our space. We took over the original Bear Island spot where they started back in 2014 or 15, and before they bought the firehouse. So brewing there for a couple years. And actually, we just had the Hoptober Festival at Boise Brewing. That was kind of the first time we had talked to people about actually buying that space and starting a brewery. And so Festival kind of, for us, has been a milestone every year, a milestone event every year.
Sure.
So the first year we were talking about it. The second year we had started brewing, but we didn't have a fresh hop that year. I was still getting used to the system. So then the third year, that would have been 2023, we actually had a fresh hop. And then this year it's essentially the same fresh hop. We'll just do it every year, but it's just like every other agriculture product. It's different every year just because the hops are different. This year it has like a really fun berry note to it. I don't know where it came from. What kind of
hops are in this beer? What are we talking about?
There are 5 different kinds of hops, but predominantly it's Cascade, Centennial, Galena, and Willamette.
What are the freshies?
All those.
Oh, you got all those fresh.
Yep.
Nice.
Well, because we're a 3-barrel brew house, we're a tiny nano scale brewery, and so we actually had them all from the backyard. Those are all vines that that Beth planted back, 10 years ago, and so they're well seasoned. But
Beth hops.
Yeah, they are Beth's vines. Another alliteration. We could do that.
We're gonna have a little game going on just to let everyone know. I forgot to mention at the start. During this interview, we're gonna see how many alliterations we have, whether through my questions or answers or whatever. And if you either write in or comment on the Substack or Facebook, the right answer will send you. Let's do jerky. We'll send you some jerky.
Make a drinking game out of it. Yeah. Every time we have an alliteration, you have to drink.
Yeah, that sounds good. I like that too. Maybe I'll drink every time.
I love alliterations.
Alliterations are the best. Go ahead. Sorry, I interrupted.
No worries. I've been a home brewer for 10 plus years in the Portland area, and I always kind of viewed owning a brewery as a retirement gig. Mm. And I had a contract quality control lab in Portland for craft breweries for about 3 years. Tried to do that. Started that in 2015. Turns out I'm a better scientist than I'm a salesman, so that didn't go very well.
Those two things usually are tough to kind of...
Yeah.
Those aren't too... the Venn diagram there is not one that...
Doesn't touch much.
Yeah.
So, but I have a chemistry background and a science background, and so that's how I got into the beer industry. I love brewing. I love craft beer. Obviously, growing up around Portland, it's ubiquitous. But then wanted to... always had this idea of owning a brewery, but it would be like after I'm retired, after, made my money so that I don't have to rely on the income from the brewery. I can brew what I want, not what I have to.
Right.
And so when...
Just so you know, that the word's said by every single person
that starts a brewery. Of course.
Every single time they start. Whenever a would-be brewer says that, a little beer angel gets its wings.
Yeah. But the other thing... What I love about the craft beer industry is just the community around it and how it brings people together. Like, beer is the backdrop to good conversations, is not necessarily the point of those conversations. I mean, obviously we're beer nerds, so we talk about beer a lot, but for the majority of the population, for everybody else listening, the beer is, like I said, it's the backdrop. It's, you get together to talk with your friends over a beer or around beer. It's not about the beer necessarily. And so when I was home brewing, unless you're us, but I remember, I had a pretty decent homebrew system and, making 5-gallon batches, but I would keg and I would have my 3-tap kegerator in my shed backyard back in Portland. And I would just get bored of my own beer. And so I'd brew a 5-gallon batch. I'd drink about a gallon of it over a couple weeks and then be bored. It's like, all right, well, I still have 4 gallons of this beer and times 3 different kegs, and I have beers in the fermenters, and I need to finish these beers. They're still good, but what do I do with them? I can't sell them, obviously, as a home brewer, so I'd have drink my beer parties. Wow. And had a pretty cool backyard with a fire pit and awnings and the shed and everything. So I would just call my friends and say, hey, come to the house Friday night, Saturday night, whatever, bring some food, we'll throw it on the grill. And it was at one of these parties that I had 20, 25 people, one of the bigger ones. And went into the house, used the bathroom, come back out, and I'm seeing everybody from different walks of my life, whether it was from school, whether it was from work, whether it was just friends, musicians. I'm also a musician, so I had a bunch of musician friends that were there. But they, also neighbors. And they're all having good conversations, animated conversations with each other, and they're all drinking my beer. And I thought that was really cool. And that was kind of the first aha moment to me. So fast forward a number of years to moving out to Idaho, and then this opportunity to purchase this building came up, and it had to been 24 different friends were like, hey, you there's a house with a brewery in it. You should buy this house. And so we and not only was it perfect for us at the time, but also Beth and Steve could have been nicer. They wanted the place to go to someone local. They wanted someone was going to start a brewery out of it. And for me, it was also intriguing because would allow us to start a brand, like I said, without the need to have to make the money. Like, I got to pay the mortgage anyway,
Right.
whether it's from a day job or from the brewery itself. I'm going to have to pay the mortgage regardless. So if now I can sell the beer, even better. And hopefully it could be a self-sustaining addiction a little bit. And so, but fast forward, it's starting to take off, and we're, getting out in the market. We're distributed through Watkins, so same people that do Payette and a number of other craft breweries.
Mm-hmm.
And they've been a huge help for us just from the logistics standpoint as well. Their team is awesome.
Yep.
And
shout out Noah.
Yep, Noah,
Connor.
Patrick.
Yep.
All
So,
and they've been a huge help for us. And then, I can tinker around in the brewery and make my kind of experimental beers and try some new stuff and apply some of the theory that I'd had now into the production market. But so there's obviously a learning curve there. That's been my biggest challenge, is just going, again, home brewer knows best, quote unquote. That's no professional brewer wants to hear that guy in the tap room. Well, I'm a home brewer. You should do this. You should brew a beer with this. You should do it this way. And it's like, yeah, sure, thanks, man.
Some brewers do, so they can shout them out of the brewery.
Well, then there's that.
Your beer tastes like shit. So why the predilection for positive prose in your potables?
So, first of all, it starts with just, making fantastic fermentations, So, try to ding. But I've always been a lifelong reader. Again, my fiance Shelly, her name is Alliteration, so we've always just kind of played with that. And we've also kind of found that, for whatever reason, we end up liking breweries that have alliterations in their names, or like Boise Brewing, Brown Beard Brewing, those type of places. And so how can we put an alliteration in the name of our beer? Obviously, Boise Brewing's taken. Right.
Yeah. Don't try to do bogus brewing.
And yeah. And my beard isn't quite as nice as Bryce's. So Bryce at Brown Beer Brewing, Adamant Alliteration Ales. We can, kind of a fun thing, allows us to play with the names a little bit, with beer names too. I've heard you talk on your podcast about like naming beers and the marketing of beers.
Yeah.
Being very special.
Fun.
And so we can have some fun with that, but it's also what's in a name. Sierra Nevada's flagship is just called Pale Ale. Sometimes you name a beer and you're like, oh, this will fly like a Led Zeppelin. Oh, wait, now that's been used.
Yeah.
So
yeah, when in doubt, just call it lager.
We have had a number of our friends, or even just our Instagram, actually. So our Aero Rock American Kolsch was named by, one of our Instagram followers. So we'll occasionally do some of those. Hey, we need a name for this new beer. Come up, give us some alliterations. And if we pick it, we give you some free swag, hat, t-shirt, that kind of thing. Our number one beer, our Borealis Baltic Porter, was named by our friend Angel. And he's like, this would be cool. And so, so that's where we get some of our beer names as well. Our fresh hop beer that we're drinking is called the Backyard Bines.
Backyard Bines, Backyard Beth Bines.
Beth's Backyard Bines.
Beth's Backyard Bines. I was going to get there.
Yeah. And
kind of a forced collab.
Yep. And a collab from the past.
Yeah. We're gonna have Beth on one of these days. She can't run forever.
She's hiding she doesn't hide very well.
She's definitely not hiding from me. I'm more like the other way around. So what are some breweries? Well, I would ask this question actually really quick. So you're in the Portland area and you're home brewing beer. Is it like the brew, like the craft brew scene there? Are there just home brewers like everywhere? Like your neighbor across the street, your neighbor next door?
Oh, it's like being a guitar player in Nashville, Tennessee.
Right.
Like, your bartender probably plays guitar better than you do. It's like, oh, I play guitar too. It's like, oh, I'm a home brewer too. Oh, wait, again, the home brewer guy that you just met at the bar has like 19 medals under his belt.
Yeah, I just mess around. You go into his basement, and there's like a 3-vessel system and a whirlpool and
$10,000 spike. Yeah, brew house,
conical fermenters.
Yeah,
that's cool. It's one of those things where, if you do live somewhere where there's either, it's weird because I started home brewing because I lived somewhere where there wasn't any craft beer. So I was like a Sierra Nevada Pale guy. You really couldn't get Sierra Nevada Pale really there. I guess you could maybe, but there wasn't all the craft breweries where I lived. They sucked. So I started home brewing. But then the opposite, I guess, is true too. Like if you live somewhere where there's a ton of craft beer, you're like, oh, I want to make this. I want to try to do this. Then yeah, I guess you'd be inspired that way, right? So that leads me to this: like, what breweries or beers inspired you to start your brewery?
Again, inspired to start the brewery. It was more of a situational thing. It was, we have this opportunity. Let's run it. Let's bought a house at the brewery, and as one does. But when we first moved to Idaho, it was the end of 2019. And so I know we're not local, but moved out before it was cool, before COVID, BC. And
it's always been
long story short, we ended up meeting this guy who is also a craft beer fan. He had ended up living like a quarter mile, or like not even that far, a quarter mile from our house. And COVID shuts everything down March of 2020. And ended up just having a lot of driveway beers with our friend David. And he happens to be longtime friends with Marcos, the brewer for Loose Screw. And got to talk with Marcos, and he kind of plugged me into a lot of the other brewers in the area and the kind of the craft beer scene here. Not to toot my own horn, but like we talked, homebrewer knows best. Like also, I used to call myself the highest tech homebrewer in the world without my testing company, because I had gas chromatography, mass spectrometer, I had the spectrophotometer, I had I had all this high end gear that I never used on my homebrew. I was like a mechanic with a crappy car.
Yeah.
And
you had all that stuff. You didn't use it for your homebrew.
Of course not. If you're doing it all day, you don't want to come home and do it more.
Yeah, that's true.
Just like I said, a mechanic with a crappy car. And so was able to kind of speak to a higher level with some of the stuff. Nerd out about water chemistry, and I know you had the guys from Burt's come on and talking about sulfide to chloride ratios and things like that. And it's like it's really important in the beer. Obviously, water is the number one ingredient in beer. So all of this kind of thing, I'm asking those questions. And so, and also became good friends with Marcos, and through Marcos kind of got plugged into the scene. So that was really helpful. And the community, the craft beer scene in the Treasure Valley is awesome. Like the people in it are great. Everyone's been super helpful. We talked about Powder House a little bit before we started recording. Tyler and the Schmidts have been super helpful with us. Even Chris and Matt over at Mother Earth. Mother Earth helps out a lot of people in the valley, but that's where I bought my first hops.
Won't come on this podcast. They won't come on. I don't know if they're scared. That's what I hear, but they won't come on. Several inroads have been made. Friendships lost. I'm looking for anyone from Mother Earth that wants to come on. Anyway, go ahead.
So yeah, the community has been really great, and community is what makes a beer scene. It's what makes any kind of scene, whether it's music, whether it's beer, whether it's pickleball, whatever your community is. If it's welcoming, if people are free with their recommendations, and hey, if you need something, like for beer, it's like I'm out of this yeast strain. Does anyone have any available? Like I can text probably half a dozen brewers and be like, I'm short 2 pounds of hops. Can I borrow some?
Yep.
It's like borrowing a cup of sugar from your neighbor. They're going to probably need it in the next couple years at least. You'll pay it forward, or pay it back.
I think I still owe Josh from Sockeye at least a box of hops. We'll get him there. Don't worry, Josh. We'll pay you back.
So yeah, it's been an awesome journey. It's been great. We've been welcomed here in the Treasure Valley, and it's been a fun journey so far, and hopefully many more years to come. Our latest thing is we will be opening a tap room. Okay. That's the number one question we get, is because we are draft only, and because we are wholesale only. The number one question we get is, where can we find your beer? Yeah. People love our beer. They see us at the Festival. They see us at Destination Beer. They see us at all the various. We were at Bacon and Beer Fest this year. We were at the Mountain Home Beer Fest as well. So we try to go to a lot of these festivals. And
how come only Watkins gets to buy your beer? How come we can't buy your beer?
But then, all right, we can't really point them to somewhere, because by the time Watkins tells us where the beer was sold or who picked up kegs, by the time someone asks us, it's probably been at least a week or two, and then we send them to one of our accounts that has bought the beer. It might be sold out already.
Get your on-premise report.
Yeah.
Get your daily on-premise report. You've been trying. I'll give you credit for that, because it is really tough when you are keg only. As Beth would know too. She'd tell you all about it. Although she sold her own beer. I think she still does.
Yeah, they're still self-distributed.
So, yeah, that's tough. I mean, but you tried. You have on your website, you have a little map that you've tried. I'm sure you try to keep updated as much as you can, stuff like that. But that's kind of like an impossible deal, right? Like keeping up with everything. You don't know how fast a keg. I mean, here in Boise, it's actually not that hard to, like, if a keg goes on, it usually takes about a week to kick. It's not like in Portland. 3 days,
Well, it also depends on your keg size, because we are so small. And again, this is getting into more of the business side.
3.5. So you have a 3-barrel system.
Yes.
So for everyone listening, it's 33 gallons a barrel, 30 gallons a barrel.
31.
31. Yeah. Okay. So, but I mean, it's not like you're sending out 6 kegs, right?
So we do sixtels and quarters.
Right.
So that's, pony kegs and sixtels. So
but you're not getting whatever 24 kegs for your 3-barrel system.
I'm getting 18 sixtels or 12 quarters. Yeah. So it's about 100 gallons at a time.
All those hops take that water and soaks it right up, doesn't it?
Yeah, and efficiency is obviously the thing every brewery is chasing, but I'm just limited by our system, and so. That being said, when someone does have, say, like Heritage Hop House here in Meridian, or the Boise Brewing, they have some of our fresh hops still available, but that's the kegs that they have. Each keg is one of 18. Especially with something like Backyard Vines, we make it once a year, and it obviously changes every year. But that means there are 18 kegs of those available at any given time, and when it's gone, it's gone.
Well, thank you so much for bringing some for us to try. I find it's a nice beer. It's certainly along that harvest ale sort of path, which I appreciate. I like harvest ales. I like Sierra Nevada Celebrations, one of my faves. And it certainly goes along those lines. It's got, some type of crystal malt or something in there,
nope.
I guess, right? No, what do we got going on?
No crystal. Little bit of Vienna.
Okay, Vienna. Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm never been a fan of crystal malt, but that's just going.
Nor should you be.
Well, I shouldn't say that.
It's not 1992. You don't use crystal malt in your IPA anymore.
Though our amber ale, the Old Overland, it's a English style amber ale that does have some C120 in it.
You say you're looking to get into a tap room at some point. Do you have a spot? Do you have somewhere for that already, or are you currently looking?
We're actively constructing it.
Oh, you're constructing it.
In construction.
Does everyone know where it is?
We purchased the building in end of August, and so we will. We're in the middle of construction phase. Shameless plug. So if you sign up for our newsletter, either through Instagram or through our website, there'll be those
link on the show notes.
Those folks will be the first to know when our soft openings are. Hopefully by the end of the year, but most likely January.
And whereabouts is it?
It'll be in Garden City, 36th and Chinden.
Shocker.
And a lot of good, breweries like neighbors. And so we're also partnering with our
Sturman's neighbor of Sturman's.
Sturman's they were actually one of the first places that brought us on seasonally with our Borealis Baltic Porter.
I think that's where I may have had it.
And Ryan over there has been awesome for us. It's also that Baltic Porter at 8% and a little bit of peat smoked malt in there. Allows it to really stand up with a cigar in your mouth.
Yep.
And
it's co-sign and agree.
Yep. So that was always great for the winter, obviously, and doesn't sell as well in the summer. But we're getting a dark beer season, and we got some cloud cover today, and
Here at the Idaho Booze Podcast, we celebrate stout year round. So we're always ready for a big Baltic Porter or a saucy stout.
Excellent. Because we have kind of that literary slant with our brewery to begin with, we partnered with our friend Chelsea, who owns the Lit Room Bookstore. That's there in Garden City. Also, her space is right across from Push and Pour. Okay. Little tiny building there. Yeah. But she only has about 200 square feet. She has all these events, book clubs and author signings,
200
readings.
square feet.
Oh, it's tiny.
It's less than this room.
Yeah, just about. And so she wanted more space so she could hold her events. But bookstores, that's all shelving. You don't really need a lot of space in the middle.
That's true.
So we partnered with her, and so we are building a book beer bar.
Okay.
Boise's first book beer bar. And
yeah, maybe Idaho's first book beer bar.
I believe so. And just see how many bees we can go in a row.
Yeah.
So it'll be a fun space. The design is kind of like having a beer at Indiana Jones's study or Teddy Roosevelt's study, if you will. And
I'll take either.
Yeah, we'll have a lot of fun events there. We'll have our beers on. We'll also have guest taps. We're gonna have cider, kombucha, wine, limited beverage service. We won't have liquor, at least at first. But we're also gonna have a pretty decent non-alcoholic selection, because that's something that I've realized too. Like you have some of these big beers. Say you're at a spot and you've had 2 or 3 beers, and it's like then say some other friends show up and cool, let's hang out some more. And but you still got to drive home. So having something that is still a beverage, still something that tastes good, that's not just water or soda gun or something like that. Mm-hmm. You can have there's some great non-alcoholic beers. There's also some great NA cocktails, elixirs, if you will, that we that can be a great spacer too. So it's not just necessarily for people that don't drink, but also there's not really a spot that people can go that people that don't drink alcohol that still want to go out and drink. They just don't want to drink drinks with alcohol.
They want to be in a place that has alcohol, but they don't want to put alcohol inside themselves.
COVID one of my theories is that COVID compressed 10 years of trends into 3 years.
Yeah.
And so making a warm, inviting space for everybody that can come, sit down, have a great conversation over a beverage. Hopefully it's one of our beers, but if it's not, we have a lot of other options. The building that we purchased, it also has a commercial kitchen. It has a full commercial kitchen that used to be a commissary kitchen. And so it's essentially a commercial duplex. So we'll have the retail, the tap room up front, and then the kitchen will be its own entity out back. Okay. And the plan is to be able to offer food, quote unquote, through delivery, kind of like Barbarian downtown. Mm-hmm. And then since we don't have our own kitchen, we can still have dogs in the tap room, because we're both Shelly and I are big dog people.
Let's just pivot real quick. I want to start talking about some of your guys' beers. I've had, like I said, I've had a chance to try now 2, the Borealis Baltic Porter, and now this is the Bines, the Backyard Bines Fresh Hop IPA. Both really good. Talk to me about your hazy, Cloud Curiosity.
Cloud Curiosity. So, I forget which brewery we were just talking about, like the obligatory IPA. Someone had that one. And I know
it's Edge.
It was Edge. Okay, I didn't misquote earlier then. So hazies, I actually kind of have a soapbox about IPAs in general, and hazies are part of it. And
go out and go off.
Go off,
King.
Or what cook as the Gen Z say.
Exactly.
But when we have all of these, when you talk about beer styles, you talk about historical beer styles like the Czech Pils, Bohemian Pilsner, German Pilsner, French Pilsner. You've got Italian Pilsners. You've got all these different Pilsners. And the only reason you have those different styles and their own independent styles is because they've been around for 400 years. Yeah. So the American IPA, as it evolved from even as far back as say the 90s, back in the ancient days, the 1900s, late 1900s, but then, hey, I was made in the 80s, born to rock. So but that IPA as a style has gone through all of these evolutions, and I think what we're seeing today is kind of this bifurcation of the style, where you have, the more quote unquote traditional West Coast American IPA that is big, bitter, piney, maybe your crystal malt, but that is, that's the one style. But then, in comes this northeastern style, this New England IPA that is low bitterness, that is, cloudy, it's hazy, but it has the fruity and floral characteristic that hops can also do, but are just hadn't been explored yet, until Treehouse and The Alchemist and all these guys, started making these beers. And so when they first came out, they were, it says like on Heady Topper's can, do not pour into a glass, because the problem was back then, back in the ancient days of 2007, that, people pour in a glass. It's like, oh, this beer's bad because it's got, it's not clear.
It's all hazy.
And so it was a curiosity. And so that nowadays we kind of have this like 90s rap thing going on with East Coast versus West Coast. And but it does showcase two different sides of the hop plant. And with the hundreds and hundreds of different varieties of hops, you can have all of these different flavors. And because I talked about earlier, as hops being an agricultural crop, they're different every year, slightly. Now you can still have consistency in how you dose them, how you blend them, your processes, your timing on your hop schedule. But, like some of my backyard vines, it almost has, especially when it's freshly poured, an interesting like berry note to it. I don't know which hop it came from. Obviously, there's 4 different kinds of hops. There is also some Comet. There's some Comet in there that I got from some friends of mine.
Cascade, Centennial, Willamette,
Galena.
Not a lot of berry in any of those usually.
But for whatever reason, there was a berry note to it.
Yeah, there is. You're right.
And so it's always fascinating to me, again, as the chemist, as the kind of the mad scientist behind this, it's always fascinating to see that what we predict will happen isn't always what happens. Like I can get close, and folks with more automation or more higher tech brewing systems can probably get a lot closer, but it is still kind of a black box. We can refine our process, but even with all the research we've done in the last 10, 20 years, there is still a lot of stuff we don't know, and things will happen where there's a variable that either didn't get accounted for or we weren't aware of even, that, okay, well, we just do it this way and it comes out the same every time. Cool, we'll just do it the same way, and in theory, it comes out the same every time.
Yeah.
It's not always the case.
Nope.
And so, but again, the point of our backyard vines is that vintage. Every year it's going to be slightly different. But obviously something like Cloud of Curiosity or our other flagship IPA, the Flight of Fancy, that we... some weather coming in.
Yeah, this is the argument for brewers at Budweiser and Miller and stuff like that. A lot of people will, back when I was selling beer, they would denigrate, Budweiser and Bud Light and all that stuff. I would say, look, I would kill to have the consistency of Budweiser and Bud Light. Like, you try a Bud Light in 1995, you try it in 2005 and 2015, it's the same beer.
Not even that.
It's unbelievable. I mean, the consistency is classic Budweiser.
Not even that. I mean, the analogy I like to use is Budweiser is McDonald's.
Yeah.
McDonald's makes hamburgers.
Yeah.
And fries. And like all their other stuff. If you get the same milkshake in St. Louis or Singapore, it's the same thing.
But as a brewer, that's kind of what you're looking for, right? You want to be consistent. You want your beers to always taste the same. But you have to fight against this sort of agricultural aspect of it, where your ingredients, what if one year the two-row crop sucks and your two-row comes in under attenuated?
Not even sucks. It just has a slightly higher protein content.
Exactly.
Or slightly lower. Now you don't have the head retention that you did last year.
Yeah.
Or even that, hops, again, being harvested right about this time of year, September, August.
Yeah.
We'll be using that same hop crop, even if it's 2024 hop crop, we'll be using it next July.
Yeah.
And those hops, as great as, like even as local as we got Mill 95, we buy all our hops from them. And like the awesome part there, being so local, we can get it fresh. Yeah. And as good as they do it, and it is nitrogen packed and vacuum sealed and everything, that it's still sitting in that package for, 10, 11 months.
Yep.
Potentially by the time we use it.
Yeah.
And it will change slightly. So, but you can account for that with just your brewing process.
For sure. And you have a couple other fun beers on here. You have the Autumn Alchemy Weizenbach.
Shelly keeps bugging me to brew that again because we sold half of that batch to one account in Middleton.
It's a nice looking beer. An account in Middleton?
Yes.
Which account
the chap.
in Middleton? The chap bought all the Weizenbach.
They went through, they put it on, they put the first 6 on a Friday, and they went through 3 that weekend.
Then the Arrow Rock American Kolsch. Is this? Do you finish this cold, or do you ferment it cold or hot?
So we call it. I call it an American Kolsch because it's not a true Kolsch.
Okay.
It's not a German style. Like I'm using American yeast. I'm using American hops, American barley, American water.
Sure.
But I do it in a Kolsch style, so it's an ale fermented at lager temperature. Okay. So it is fermented cold and then aged cold as well.
You're able to get a good fermentation on that. You're not getting a lot of under attenuation.
Oh, it's cal ale.
Yeah.
I mean, it drops to about 1.8 Plato.
Oh, nice.
Like it drops dry.
At 35 degrees? What are you fermenting at?
Oh, I ferment at that 154.
Okay. Okay, so you are getting, are you getting some of those notes that we like in a Kolsch, like some of those like kind of, what would you call them? That yeasty flavor from a Kolsch. Are you able to kind of capture that?
I mean, surprisingly, no. It actually ends up being a lot more, bready and clean.
No, it is. Okay,
gotcha. That one, I also don't affect the water too much.
Hallertau hops in there?
Saws.
Oh, saws. Okay.
So I use a lot of saws. I think I have used Hallertau Blanc in that as well, but less so now. I think I like the saws crop that I got instead.
All right. Well, that knocking on the window door means it's time for us to take a break.
Well, our beer's empty too. We'll get that.
Yeah, my beer is as well. Adam Fleck from Alliteration Ales. So we will be right back, and we're going to get sciencey right after this. This show brought to you by Snake River Wine Tours. I am writing a book about Idaho wine, and I needed to get out to wine country. I had to introduce myself. I had to see how the wine was made. And Snake River Wine Tours was there for me. They provided an expert tour guide, John, who was very nice and knew everything about every winery we went to. I didn't have to worry about getting lost. I didn't have to worry about driving home. All I had to do was sit back and relax. And wouldn't you know it, I brought 4 friends with me and my wife. We all hung out. We had a blast. There were snacks. There was water, anything you could need. But the best part about Snake River Wine Tours was the behind the scenes access that we got. We had an expert from every winery come and tell us all about all the wines. We did tastings that nobody else was able to do. We did things behind the scenes that other people just didn't get access to, all because we went with Snake River Wine Tours. And this can happen for you too. And they'll accommodate any group, from an intimate 2-person wine tour, little adventure for 2, all the way up to private groups up to 64 people. They will get you out there and in style too. The van was big, it was comfortable, it had tons of room, and we had a great time. You make friends when you go on like a mixed tour like we did. We were singing and laughing the whole way home. It was an amazing trip. We were able to do it on a Sunday, which was amazing. We went out on a Sunday and hit up a bunch of wineries, and you can do it too. And they plan 7 days a week, year round. You can make your trip starting today at snakeriverwinetours.com. Voted #1 by USA Today. There you go. That's all you need to know. Snake River Wine Tours, for the best adventure out on the sunny slope in the Snake River AVA. Go to snakeriverwinetours.com today. Heading out to the lake is great, and Treasure Valley Chevron is here to make that lake trip even better with a crazy selection of snacks, drinks, and stuff for your long weekend away. Need a lift for the road? With the Treasure Valley's largest assortment of energy drinks, energy shots, coffee, candy, sodas, and more, you can fill yourself up for the long trip along with your car. Looking for something more substantial? TVC has a huge assortment of snacks, chips, and more to munch on during your trek. Hit up Treasure Valley Chevron at I-84 and Gowan Road, or Highway 55 at Beacon Light, and see why TVC is your best stop for any trip. Welcome back to the Idaho Booze Podcast. I'm Steve Kuntz here with Adam Fleck from Alliteration Ales. Adam, what's up?
No, still doing great. Got our second beer.
So good. That was a long 30-second break, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, geez. So we just had, before we had the
Backyard Vines.
Fresh hop. Now we're doing the West Coast Pilsner. So what's the fun, creative name for this little guy?
So this one is called our Petrichor Pilsner.
Petrichor, obviously. Petrichor Pilsner.
To me, Petrichor is the smell of fresh rain. You know, It's a smell after you get it. It's been dry out and you get that fresh rain. That's that smell.
Or as we Northwesterners like to call it, everyday smell.
Well, not here in Idaho.
I mean, I'm from Seattle.
Okay, yes.
You're from Portland area.
And so
we just call it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Yeah, days end in Y, yeah. So the idea with, and I'm a big fan of hop flavor, but also want a lighter beer sometimes. I don't necessarily want a 7.5% IPA. But so, hey, let's take a Pilsner and dry hop it. Yeah. Simple as that. So what could be more Northwest than the smell of petrichor? And also it could be more Northwest than dry hopping a Pilsner. So hence the petrichor Pilsner.
All right. I dig it. What did you dry hop this one?
Idaho 7.
Okay, great.
So it's a Saaz base, bittering towards the end of the boil, and then dry hopped very lightly dry hopped with Idaho 7.
It's it's nice and crisp. It tastes good. I like that you can still taste some of the grain in there as well. And it pours really nicely. It's got a nice little head on it. It's got some carbonation. It's a nice looking beer, and I think a nice little Pilsner. Is this one fermented cold?
Yes.
Nice. Now, I don't know that Beth was able to ferment cold when she was there. Or did you guys add some glycol and stuff like that there? Or was that already there?
It's the same system. And actually the same tanks. We ended up, so all of our fermenters are the same ones that Beth has as well.
Maybe she was able to do lagers here and there. I don't remember her doing. I think she did a Kolsch. I remember doing Kolsch, and maybe she did like a light lager one time. I don't remember.
It also comes down to.
She can call in. Beth, you go ahead and call in.
Yeah, we'll take call number 9.
Yeah.
But I think it really comes down to tank space and tank time. Mm-hmm. Because we're wholesale only, because we don't have the tap room yet. It is really easy for me to let a beer sit for 6 weeks.
Yeah. And,
we are getting our beers out there. I'd like to sell more of it, things like that. But it just takes time, and you're building the brand and whatnot.
And you only have a maximum of 18 kegs per batch that you can sell.
Right. But even then, so in order to increase your throughput, to increase your barrelage per month, you just have to have it sit in the tanks less time. So
lagers are tricky.
Lagers are tricky. So most craft breweries, that's why for the longest time, again, going back to the dark ages, for the longest time, craft breweries did not do lagers.
Nope. And they did them poorly when they did do them.
Yeah. Nowadays, we have more science, and there are ways to increase your throughput with a lager. You can ferment warmer. And secret on this one in particular, modern yeasts, even modern lager yeasts, I use all dry yeast. And it comes down to time, and it comes down to quality.
Who even does it? I didn't even know they made dry yeast. Red Star?
Lalamond. I use mostly Cellar Science, but Apex Labs use some of their stuff. I use
Red yeast.
Red Star. Fleischmann's.
Yeah, I have. Fleischmann's is great.
And,
awesome bread.
Well, the
terrible beer. Awesome bread. Is there a reason for that? Is it cost? Is it because you're getting better cell count from having to use less equipment? Like, what reason is there for using a dry yeast?
It's consistency, because I can do a fresh pitch every batch. Mm-hmm. And for me, being 3 barrels, a 500-gram brick actually goes a lot further than it would in, say, a 10-barrel batch, or 15. And so cost is still there, but then I also don't have to worry about keeping a yeast brink or I can switch beers left and right and not have to worry about, okay, I have to keep this yeast strain alive. So it means I have to brew my IPA next if I just brew an IPA, because maybe, obviously harvest your yeast before dry hop, but and
you're not brewing like a wheat beer to keep a yeast strain going so that you have more cell count.
Exactly.
A bigger beer, like
that. And modern dry yeast is just as good as wet yeast, liquid yeast these days.
I'm glad we started talking about yeast, because I was doing light research, very, very light research, and I saw that you were a chemist, or some type of chemist, I guess. And one of from my old show, we used to do a part of it where it was called "Let's Get Sciencey." It was something that we love to do. And so we're going to do that again here. We'll do a Let's Get Sciencey right now. I want to just go over some sort of common and uncommon things that can happen with chemistry and sort of your take on them real quick, if that's okay.
Yeah, certainly.
Cool.
Pop quiz.
Yeah. No, I mean, less of a pop quiz, more like you should already know. This is like a final, like an end of year final. You should already know this stuff. This should be easy for you. All right. Let's
90% of your grade.
Yeah. It's going to be 90% of your grade. That's for sure. What does the term stressed out yeast mean? What does that mean?
Well, happy yeast makes happy beer. Yeast is the cornerstone of our industry, of our product, and the great Charlie Bamforth used to say at the start of all of his classes, what is our job? And the job is to win the war. And the idea is that your yeast cells are like your troops. They're sent into battle to make your beer and to fight for the resources that is the sugars that are in your wort. And, as even the very, very best breweries and the very best brewers try to minimize the inclusion of, other bacteria and wild yeasts and things that are present in just nature. I mean, yeast is a single cell eukaryotic fungus that is prevalent everywhere. It's on your skin, it's in your beard, it's in the lawn, it's on the trees, it's everywhere. It just floats in the air.
Mm-hmm. It's in yogurt. That's how they make prison wine.
Prison wine is one thing. Yogurt would actually be a bacteria, but yes, there's all sorts of other stuff. But you have
prison wine isn't very good.
Lactobacillus and acidophilus and all these other bacteria that are present in the atmosphere. Now, through good brewing practices, you've got you're doing your caustic cleaning, you're doing your rinse, you're doing your sanitize. But even all of those are 99.99999% effective. Yeah. It's not all of them. And so the idea is that you want to send your troops, your yeast, into battle with those other factors with as much ammunition and as much resources as possible. And you want to send as many troops as you can as possible. That's right. And so when they do, they win that war hands down. They win that battle hands down. As much as you can.
The sugar war.
Yep, and the war over sugar, and so when you're, but when you don't do that, when you don't send your best of the best troops, say your troops are old, they're tired, they're they're fewer in number, so cell counts, but also maybe they've been 14 generations and they've been stressed. It's too hot, it's too cold, it's humid, it's whatever. They don't perform as well. Mm-hmm. And while they still may get the job done, you still end up with beer in the end. It may be a messier victory.
Okay. And
so to try to keep that analogy going, you can see that in the battlefield. And when we're done, the end of the battlefield is the finished beer, I guess. Mm-hmm. And analogy starts breaking down after that, I think. But but if your battlefield is littered with bodies,
hold on. There's a war.
So if your battlefield is finally littered with bodies, a tall-sized yeast.
I guess alcohol would be the bodies, right?
I don't know. Again, the analogy starts breaking down.
It's sort of like a Starship Troopers thing.
Yeah,
the bug comes in,
but then say you end up with dead yeast cells. When yeast die, they almost explode or they ooze out all of their guts, and you end up with a taller-sized yeast, and you can get this like meaty, oily character to your beer. If the yeast is stressed, you can get different esters or fruity characters. Now, some yeast that's on purpose, say like a Hef, Hefeweizen or Belgians. Those different yeast characters. Leave a different battlefield. Sour beers. So I would say a stressed yeast is going to leave more refuse on the battlefield.
I had no idea that we were going to go in this direction of a war analogy, and I could not be happier.
I've never been to war, never want to.
I've never heard that analogy before, and I love it, and I'm probably going to steal it. So thank you for that. That's awesome. And what are some things a home brewer can do? Since you started as a home brewer, you might know this. What are some things a home brewer can do to cultivate better brewing bugs?
So the best thing a home brewer can do is cleanliness. keep your cans clean. Keep your kegs clean. Keep everything clean as possible.
Yep.
And the biggest mistakes that that homebrewers make is they think it's clean and it's not.
Yeah. If you think it's clean, it's probably not clean.
And
it's definitely not sanitized.
And if you think you clean it again. There's
some terms that we're kicking around right now that I don't think people understand well enough. So we'll start with one that you haven't. I don't think you mentioned it yet. Maybe you did. What is, and this is going to be like a blanket question. We sometimes do a game with everybody that comes on, and I couldn't quite find a fun game for you. So I'm just going to do this this will be like the pop quiz part. So like we talked about before.
All
right. What is acetaldehyde? How can you tell if it's in your beer? And how can a brewer avoid it?
Okay. Acetaldehyde, acetaldehyde, however you want to pronounce it.
Mm-hmm.
How can you tell it's in your beer?
You have to put the right emphasis on the right syllable.
Yes. How can you tell that it's in your beer? You taste it.
Yeah, what does that taste like?
To me, it tastes more like green pepper. But a lot of people say green apple.
Green apple, yeah.
Is also a common one. But again, the only way to know how it tastes to you is to do a dosed sample test.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, you take something like Coors Light, and take some American Adjunct Light Lager, and then you take one that is unadulterated, and you can buy these online, and it is acetaldehyde, and you drop it in your beer.
Yep.
You drop it in the other one, and then you taste them side by side. Now it's like, oh, okay, that's what it tastes like. To me, it tastes like fireworks. I don't know. Like some people have weird taste buds in it, but it's like then every time you taste that green apple, green pepper, whatever flavor in a beer, it's there.
And if you want to become a Cicerone, kids, you have to do this. You have to do all of that stuff and do that whole thing.
I think if you want a level 2.
Level 2, you have to light strike it. You have to add acetaldehyde. And so anyway, what can a brewer do to avoid that?
It's a green beer. That's a beer that hasn't finished. So if you
go back to under attenuated. The war has been lost.
Not even under attenuated, because I think your beer hasn't finished fermenting. So yeast doesn't just eat sugars; it also eats other things. And one of those things that it will eat is acetaldehyde, and it will reuptake it only when all the good stuff's gone. Just like you have that leftovers in the back of your fridge that you don't want to finish, but if you're hungry enough, you will. And so the idea is you don't keep adding stuff into it, and you need there needs to be enough yeast there to start eating on it.
So yeast saves the acetaldehyde for later.
It saves it for later, and it'll eat it as a last resort and turn it into ethanol. Now, fun fact, that's actually what your body turns out ethanol into when you metabolize ethanol.
Acetaldehyde?
Acetaldehyde.
I did not
It's
know
also
that.
what causes your hangover. Another cause of a hangover.
Jerk.
It is. But so you can have it. So if you have beers that have high acetaldehyde, maybe they're below flavor threshold, but there's still a lot in there.
Mm-hmm.
They'll give you a worse hangover.
So it's the worst of both worlds.
Oh,
it tastes terrible, and you get a terrible hangover. All right, let's go next. Diacetyl. You mentioned this before.
Yep.
Same question for diacetyl. What is it? How can you tell if it's in your beer, and how can you avoid it?
So it is pop quiz. I would say to me, diacetyl butter. Butter popcorn. You also get change the mouthfeel, get more of a slick mouthfeel.
Slick.
And
homebrewers, that's how you tell.
Yeah. And again, the best way to do that, and the Snake River homebrewers, again, plug them, but they have done off flavor tastings at their meetings.
Mm-hmm.
Not like a special class even, just like at their meetings.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, today we're gonna study DMS or acetaldehyde or something or whatever.
Yeah.
And so to me, best way to avoid diacetyl is again that diacetyl rest. Isn't again one of those off flavors that you'll have all these precursors in there. The yeast will do its primary fermentation and then also start reuptaking some of those compounds, the 2,3-butadiol, pentadiol, and clean up the beer. So typically, when you're brewing, you'll have your primary fermentation temperature, say it's 65, 68 degrees, and some brewers will actually do a soft crash. So if you have good fermentation control, temperature control on your fermenter, you'll do a crash to like 50 Fahrenheit. And again, I'm using freedom units. But you'll drop to like 50 C or 50 F.
Freedom units.
That's why I said it's F, right?
It's
freedom units.
It's good stuff.
And that's where you can harvest your yeast if you're doing that. But then they'll actually raise it back up to higher than their fermentation temperature because they're already at terminal gravity. So you're already most of those sugars have already been consumed,
shot
by the yeast. The sugars, they've used those resources already. Now you need to get to the back of the fridge to get the leftover stuff. Right. Say you're fermenting at 68, you drop it down to 50 degrees, do your soft crash, do your yeast harvest, and then jump it back up to like 72, and do your diacetyl rest for a day or two.
And that usually will do it.
That'll
and it literally takes a day, right? You crash it down, you crash it overnight.
Now
you harvest in the morning, you ramp it back up.
Timing.
By the end of that day, you should have it back down to 60 to dry out.
Timing is different. Right. Timing will depend on your yeast. You should do a forced diacetyl test, and there are many resources online about sticking your wort in a microwave for 60 seconds and then smelling it and stuff like it. I
don't think anybody does that.
Just don't use tinfoil. No, I mean, trust me.
That's why my ding dongs keep popping in the microwave.
Because you put them in foil?
I left it in the foil.
Oh.
I really wanted that one. All right, let's move on. Same question for dimethyl sulfides.
So DMS is endemic in all malt. It's an all grain, all brewing grain. DMS, it shows up during your mash. You kick it over to the kettle, and they boil the hell out of it. Now,
what are the off flavors for DMS?
DMS is typically that cooked corn. Or creamed corn, whatever. But like also vegetal is another one, like vegetable stew. The best way to keep that out of your beer is to make sure you have a vigorous boil. Now, as a home brewer, you probably have an open kettle with an open top and things like that. What I have seen though is craft breweries. They'll have like a big 15 barrel, 10 barrel setup, and then they have their steam column that goes up from the center of their kettle right up to the ceiling, 3 stories up.
Yeah.
And the problem with that is that because they're all direct shot out to the roof, and that's where our steam goes out.
Yeah.
The problem with that is that if you're familiar how a distillation works, how a steam column works, is that when that steam goes up, when it contacts cooler metal, it will recondense and then drip back down.
Yeah, that's the issue.
And a lot of times, now again, modern brewers, they'll actually have in that column, they will have a trap of some kind along the edge that will catch that and send it out into waste. But if they don't, or say you put your lid on your boiler, it's like, it'll just burp off any steam that it needs. All that condensation, that DMS will recondense on that metal, on that cool metal, and then drip back down into your beer, and it doesn't actually go away.
Yeah.
And so most often when you have a DMS issue, it's because you didn't have a rigorous enough boil.
Get that boil going and don't put the top back on.
Make sure it's rigorous boil.
Rigorous.
Like it has to be talking a rolling boil.
Rolling boil, baby.
Not simmering. You want like spaghetti boil.
Yeah. All right.
So
you did a great job on that test, by the way. And I'll tell you what, you can take as many of those Old Wisconsin jerky. Yeah, from Treasure Valley Chevron. You can take as many of those as you like as your prize for doing so well in that. You did a good job, Adam. Great job on the chemistry stuff. I did want to ask a little bit about water chemistry, but I think we could have you come back on and we'll talk all about water chemistry some point. Because maybe we'll have you on. We'll get Rob from Bert's Brewing and Dave. And have a whole water chemistry thing, because I know I know what I look like back here behind the computer. That I look like I'm kind of losing it a little, but this is the most interesting stuff to me. I love this shit. Like, I'm a big beer nerd. I am not good. I am not a brewer by any means. I am a home brewer, sort of. I'm okay at it, but I love hearing about this stuff. So thanks for indulging me in that. And we're just gonna real quick. Let's get to what's coming up. Tell us kind of the effort behind your tap room, what you guys are doing in anticipation of that. Do you have a name for it? Is there any way that the community can sort of get on board and help out? What's going on with your guys' tap room coming up?
All right, awesome. Yeah, so our tap room will be, I think we mentioned earlier, 36th and Shinden.
Step on that sucker.
So it'll be right there in the Cool Kid District. And
if you're looking to get drunk or have a smoke, 36 and Shinden.
We'll
drive home.
We'll have some options there. We have some cool things planned, and so we're actually we're partnering with our friend Chelsea, who owns the Lit Room Bookstore. So this
gotta
collaboration between
gotta get the Idaho Beer Book in there,
the Book Beer Bar, and she also hosts the Boise Band Book Club and things like that. The tap room will actually be called Oldspeak.
Okay,
and that's a reference to 1984. If you remember back to your high school reading. So, the
George Orwell book.
Yeah, and it'll be a fun collab. We did our brand announcement back October 4th, and the best way to find out more is to follow us on social media. So at Oldspeak, and there's also at Alliteration Ales. You also follow this room at This Room Is Lit. That's the Lit Room Bookstore, and we have our website, drinkalliterationales.com.
Great website.
And I'll sign up for our newsletter as well, because that's where we'll be posting. We'll be sending out to our newsletter both the soft openings, grand openings, all that kind of stuff. Kickstarter, once that goes live, or I should say crowdfunding. Campaign for people that want to get involved early. We're gonna have some cool prizes for not prizes, but
like
some
jerky,
cool
like jerky stuff like that.
maybe. And so that's the best way to follow us. We love hearing from our customers, from our fans. I guess
Yeah,
everyone loves talking beer, and I will talk anyone's ear off about beer and
just
and
listen
whatnot.
to this podcast.
So yeah, that's the best way.
So you can do all sorts of fun things on your guys' website. You can submit beer name suggestions if you have something for that. I assume it's got to be an alliteration of some kind.
Oh, we will lean towards alliterations.
If it's in iambic pentameter, is that okay? Anything?
We'd love to. We'd love to do that. We name our cocktails after gangster names for old authors. So we have an idea for the Billy Shakes cocktail. And
it.
Anyway, I don't know. We do have some rules as far as keeping. Like I said, we had to be careful with our Kolsch. Naming that, we didn't want.
Should have just called it that.
The careful Kolsch.
Careful with our Kolsch.
Canyon County Cowboy, that kind of thing. But
you don't want to do that. So you guys are going to do a little crowdfund for it.
Yeah.
Try to get some extra cash in. And what do people get? If they give you $5, do you come over to their house and tell them about their water chemistry? And if they give you $10,
we're still working on that. We're still coming up with the different tiers and whatnot. But there'll be some fun things as far as catered dinners, and we're gonna have some special events for members or people early supporters and whatnot. So we're gonna be able to have some fun with this, and we're gonna do special types of events where they are, like I said, we're partnering with the bookstore. We're very book people and author readings and signings, songwriter rounds, that kind of stuff.
If you guys will have my book in there, the Idaho Beer Book in there, then put me down as I'll do a special talk or a podcast or something there for people that donate whatever that is in the book.
Oh, we can
throw me on.
Yeah,
there.
we can do all sorts of stuff. Looking forward to it.
I will volunteer my time for that. So I want to help you guys make the best bookstore / tap room.
Best book beer bar in Boise?
Best beer bar book. Maybe the only one in Idaho.
Well, which means it's the best.
It might be. Well, you'd hope. If it's the only one, it should be the best. That'd be rough if you had some competition. So, cool. Well, that's all coming up. We're excited to see that. Thank you so much for coming on the show today. I really appreciate you coming out. Is there anything else you want to plug that's coming up in the next couple of weeks?
Let's see. I think... Well, Black Friday is coming up. I think that's the next beer fest we're going to be at. I still got to talk to Mike about it, but we
at Payette.
At Payette, I've got a barrel-aged version of our Borealis Baltic Porter. So
barrel-aged Borealis Baltic Porter.
This is for sure. So we'll be releasing that there, and
is it bourbon barrels? Bourbon barrel Baltic Porter?
Technically, it's whiskey, so I can't say bourbon.
Let's get you back to work. Thank you so much for coming in today, Adam. Really appreciate you coming on and talking alliteration with us.
Patio season is here, and nothing brings down the vibe more than getting that bill at the end of happy hour when you're paying full price for pours. Don't be a sucker. Get a Boise Beer Buddies card. It means never having to pay full price with the summer patio season coming up. You need to save as much money as you can. Go to BoiseBeerBuddies.com, sign up for your Beer Buddies card, and save money at dozens of bars, restaurants, breweries, wineries, cideries, and more for just $20. What's that? You want to buddy up with a friend? Use my promo code BOOZEPOD at checkout and get one for your best buddy for free. That's a BOGO Beer Buddy. Be a buddy and get your Boise Beer Buddies card today. Welcome back to the show. Adam, great as always. He was an awesome guest then, even better now, mostly because I didn't have to do the interview again this time. I just had to put it back on the timeline here. Well, that's a little inside baseball. Anyway, we are going to give you a little bit of, we got some Boise Beer Buddies calendar stuff going on here. Bert's Brewing doing a tap takeover and a golf bag giveaway with live music as well. This is going to be at the Pub and Putt in Nampa. This is on 2nd Street right downtown. Going to be tonight from 6 to 9 p.m. Come on down. Bert's Brewing will be there, and they'll be pouring a bunch of amazing Bert's beer and giving away a custom-made Bert's Brewing golf bag, plus some merch. So if that's not enough, Wesley George will be there playing live music. That's tonight in Nampa, 6 to 9 at the Pub and Putt. Make sure you show your Boise Beer Buddies card while you're there. August 2nd, lots going on. Yeah, August 2nd's a big day. First thing, Magic Valley Beer Fest in Twin Falls. This is one of my favorite beer fests. Shane and the gang put on an awesome little festival down there. You guys, if you have, if you want to get down there. It's a 2-hour drive. It's under the trees, so it's nice and shaded. You can find a hotel room for pretty cheap down there still. That's going to be on Saturday, so tomorrow from 1 to 6 p.m., the Magic Valley Beer Festival. Tons of beer, tons of music, delicious food, raffle, silent auction, and you can throw an axe. So, why not try that out? So that's going to do it for the Boise Beer Buddies event calendar. It looks like we also have a new buddy hub in Nyssa, Oregon, the Rock Store. So get out there and get $1 off beers all night, Thursday through Saturday at the Rock Store, where history meets flavor. We're going to be right back to wrap things up right after this. Spring is here and summer's right around the corner. Time to step up your cocktail game with Warren Reserve. Their huckleberry syrup is made with real lemon, limes, and wild huckleberries, and it's the perfect upgrade for your margarita, mojito, or even a whiskey sour. And right now, when you buy a 3-bottle pack of huckleberry syrup at warrenreserve.com, you'll get a free bottle of lavender or chili lime bitters. Just use the promo code SUMMER25 at checkout. That's warrenreserve.com. Promo code SUMMER25. Cheers. Welcome back to the Idaho Booze Podcast. I am your host, Steve Kuntz, and we are going to wrap things up. Just want to thank Adam again for being on the show way back, whatever that was. Great guest, awesome dude, makes some great beers. Go check out Oldspeak. It's on Chinden. It's actually kind of cool. You could go like Bert's Oldspeak Ruckus pretty easily there on Chinden if you wanted to. You could even do Barbarian first. I mean, if you want to make like a day of it. So yeah, it's just right across, what is that, Orchard, I guess, from where Bert's Brewing is. So it's just on the right-hand side. It used to be like a metal factory or something. And it's a really nice, cozy Book Beer Bar, and I just can't say enough good things about it. I went and checked it out when they opened. The bar is really cool. It's a nice looking bar with one of those old like Subway, I don't know what that is, like a ticker, I guess, and it tells you what's on tap and all that stuff, what's coming up. And they have an amazing little beer blah 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 blah. Too many B's. That'll damn alliteration. It gets you every time. So they got a bunch of books, is what I was trying to say, and a bunch of, and they're arranged in a cool way, and they have employee picks and everything else that you would want from a little bookstore, and beer. So I can't tell you enough how great that place is. So go check it out. Gin and Juice was our drink of the week this week from Warren Reserve. Thank you to Warren Reserve. Really appreciate your guys' support and everything you do. Go check out warrenreserve.com. Use my promo code SUMMER25. And if you want to go check out Wine Country, which would be awesome in August. They're not quite to harvest yet, but once they get to harvest, it's going to be pretty hairy out there. But right now, get out there the next couple of weeks, next 3 or 4 weeks. Use Snake River Wine Tours. They're the best. best. Man, they just do such an awesome job. They'll accommodate any group size. They have big vans, awesome drivers that know everything about the region, and you're going to make some new friends. So go check that out. So from the Palatial Studios here in Eagle, I am Steve Kuntz. Good day and good drinking, everyone. Oh, and happy High Aldi to everyone who's celebrating. Happy High Aldi, everybody.
Music